Hey guys, Brinster here. I wanted to go ahead and make a video about this new card game that's come out. It might have been late 2019, definitely early 2020 is when it finished its beta. And now we're actually coming into the third big swing of cards coming into the game, coming in early August. So I wanted to go ahead and cover a beginner's guide, what you should be doing in the game, what you need to do to get started, and the second you see this load screen here, what your primary objectives should be. So the first thing I want you to do is actually go ahead and go to the rewards segment. It's going to be a very different screen than mine. I've already completed the beginner quest line thing, but basically you're going to get access to 3 different decks. I recommend using the Jinx deck. It's probably the best one, and you're just going to grind those quests out. You're just going to go ahead and complete all of those, get all that XP up. You can do ranked, you can do casual games, you can do against AI. All of that will gain you experience. Okay, so it's definitely very good to get that out of the way. It's going to give you what's called wild cards. Okay, now I don't want to overload you too quickly here. Wild cards can be really good for getting you into the game a little bit later on. Now, while I bring that up, okay, there's this thing called the starter bundle here right in the store. It's $5. I purchased it myself just because I try to get as many cards as fast as possible, but that's just me. You don't need to buy this. This is not necessary. It's nice. It gives you 66 cards as it says here, but it doesn't give you any champions. Those are going to be the most expensive cards. They're about $5 if I wanted to translate them to real money, but you can easily grind cards in this game. Okay, and we're going to get exactly on how to do that. So starter bundle, great if you want a little bit of a shortcut. It's nothing insane, but it's $5. So, if that sounds like it's your alley, definitely check that out. So the first thing you're going to want to do once you complete that starter quest line, to maximize your profit, you're going to want to, instead of Bilgewater, okay, this is going to be the one we avoid here because it doesn't give you bonus experience. Because there's so many cards coming to the game, the developers have awarded you bonus experience, right? And I'll show you. You can see it in the top right here, bonus experience, bonus XP. And what it'll do is when you're playing your games, you get experience, okay? If you win, you get X amount. If you lose, you get X amount. You get bonus, like let's say I got my first win for the day, I get 400 experience points. Really great way. And you get capsules, okay? So these capsules are great. For example, let's look at a wild capsule. It has 4 common wild cards and a rare wild card. Wild cards exchange for any card of that rarity. Okay, so it's really good. What I would recommend, wild capsule is going to be great to farm. What I did is I got every single region up to level 4. So that way I could get those wild capsules, and then I actually put every single region after that to level 8, because once you hit level 8, you actually get a champion capsule, which means you get a champion from that region. And you can keep going. I mean, these rewards don't stop until you hit the champion that it shows right here. So, I get bonus XP all the way up until Maokai. Just to give you an example of what I was farming Freylord. I went all the way, I just scroll past it, I went all the way to the diamond chest. Okay, so this is what I got. Diamond chest, it contains 3 different capsules. So it has a lot of value, a lot of cards. And that's a perfectly viable strat. What I would recommend is just getting each region up to level 8. You could do each region up to level 4 and then go ahead and go back and then do each region up to level 8 and then do Bilgewater last. Okay, Bilgewater is going to be the one that doesn't farm as fast because it doesn't give you cards, or doesn't give you that bonus experience, I'm sorry. So with that, you might be thinking, well, okay, so I've grinded everything to level 4, I've grinded everything to level 8, okay, but I've got all these different options that I haven't even become aware of. Okay, well, if you go to the play option, right, you've got a couple of different things here, and I'm going to explain all these different game modes just to kind of break you in, because you're probably going to experience these anyway. So you have verse player, verse AI. These are going to be the same decks, right? Basically, these are going to be decks you make. You can do that in collection. We'll get into that in a little bit here. It does provide you 3 decks. I went ahead and deleted those decks because I don't like it taking up all my space. but it's, you know, you can keep those decks. That's perfectly fine. Or you can just go and make your own custom deck. And we're going to actually get into what I think is going to be the best starter deck for you. The next thing is going to be expeditions. I'm actually in the middle of an expedition. Here, I'll go ahead and surrender it. That's fine. So I'm in open play right now. That basically means I've used all of my available slots. You get, I think it's 3 expeditions per week. Okay, and if you're familiar with card games, it's going to be your sealed format. So it's going to be where you're given choices for cards, and I'll go ahead and show you very quickly. So you get different packages here. Okay, so like let's say I pick the Sejuani. Okay, well I get all these cards in my deck, and then I get 15 picks. I'm trying to build my deck out of those 15 picks, and then I go and I run a gauntlet. Okay, and then if I win 7 wins, I get a bunch of cards, bunch of experience. This is a really great way to see the cards in action, to dip your toes. You get a free token every week, so don't be afraid to use it. If you use all of your tokens, you can use shards, which is another way to craft cards. We'll get into that. It's really, really accessible. Challenges. This is going to be a great way. If you're not sure what decks you like to play, check this out. Okay, I even did a couple myself to see what I liked. It gives you experience. It gives you 100 experience, so it's a nice little boost, right, when you're farming those different rewards. But you get to see these high-level decks, right? You get to see, like, Deep, for example, very expensive deck. You get to play that for free. You know, you get to play the Plunder deck. You get to play the Quinn deck. There's a lot of really cool stuff. So definitely check that out. If you like something, look up a deck list. There's no shame. And then the last thing is Gauntlet. This is going to be your weekly kind of special event. This right here is a standard Gauntlet, so it's just like an expedition, but with a standard deck, with a constructed deck. But these will change supposedly every week. These are actually pretty new. This is really great too. They have unlimited entries right now. Really great way to farm experience. Definitely check these out if you're a little bit worried about the rank system, which is fine. Speaking of, you have 2 different options. You could do ranked or you could do normals. Okay, normal is exactly how it sounds. Ranked is exactly how it sounds. So you don't need to worry too much. The experience is the same. The only thing is if you're trying to climb the ladder, you have the option to do so. Okay, so we've covered the different game modes. We've covered really how to grind cards and how to get cards. But what should you do once you have access to cards? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you. This deck here, and the code for this is going to be in the description. This is probably going to be the best deck you can use starting off. Okay, it has no champions, so you don't have to worry about getting those hefty, like those hefty crafting prices for champions. It has a couple rares, okay, which are going to be the blue. You can't really see it at the bottom here. There's gems, right? Those are orange. This is blue. That's going to be a rare. Green's going to be your commons. Okay. Whole different crafting system there. Purples are going to be your epics. So once you've grinded all those regions, you're going to have access to wild cards. Okay, and you're actually going to be able to build this deck before you get everything to level 8, so I don't want you to worry too much about that. This deck's very, very cheap, and it's very competitive. I've grinded to masters with this deck. This deck is very, very good, and it's very, very cheap. Okay, so you might be wondering, well, how do I craft cards? Okay, well, when you're going to hit show unowned in the top left here. Okay, you're going to track down the cards that you're missing. They'll be grayed out, and you're just going to right click, and you'll see you have 2 different options. You're going to have wild card, and you're going to have balance for your shards here. Shards you get when you get duplicate cards. Okay, because you don't want to you can only have 3 cards in a deck, so there's no point in having more than 3. So the game says, hey, I get it. We'll give you this shard system. And then that way you can use those shards to craft those cards. Wild cards are literally just a replacement for the card. I can use these to craft rares. If I scroll down, I'm sure there's got to be some epics I haven't crafted. Rares, for example, I have rare wild cards, and then there's epic wild cards. And then, of course, there's champion wild cards. The champion wild cards are going to be very, very expensive. I think I have a couple. Yeah, I have 2. I'm saving those currently just because I have the decks I want. But you don't have to save them. Okay, but what I would recommend is build this deck. This is an aggro deck. These decks themselves, they're very, very easy to play. The whole point of them is just to hit the opponent. That's it. Okay, you're just attacking them. That's it. I would show a game, but I'll probably just make a deck profile for that. Link will also be in the description if you want to see how to pilot that deck. But this is just a little brief beginner's guide, just to really dip your toes in the game. I know it's a lot up front, guys. I know it really is, but I promise you, once you start playing, once you really get into it, it's going to be nothing at all. So thanks so much for checking out this video. If you guys like this content, feel free to go check me out on Twitch. I do try to stream most days of the week, usually 5 or 6 days of the week. My schedule is posted on there as well. It's twitch.tv/Brinster. Give this video a like if it helps you out. It definitely helps other people find the content. And then if you want to see more, definitely hit that subscribe button, and then even hit that bell if you really want to be dedicated. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I will catch you next time.